listening to Reality Wrap. I'm your host, Melanie. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hey guys, hope everybody is doing great out there. Happy Friday. Woohoo! Today I'm going to be recapping The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 5, Part 2 of the reunion. So far, this reunion has been really good, but it's not surprising because honestly, this season has been so good. I have to say that I think Salt Lake City right now is my favorite of all the Housewives franchises. I did see that The Real Housewives of Atlanta is coming back in March. I'm going to start out watching it. We'll see how long I last. I was not crazy at all about the last season, which seems like was 5 years ago. I was like, wait, what happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Drew did the whole singing thing on the reunion with Ralph. They brought Phaedra back, but it turns out that she actually only filmed for 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh great. So now we're going to have another season where they're going to try to take this 2 weeks of filming with her and pepper it throughout the whole season. So the timeline's going to be off and it's not going to be in order. I don't know. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to watch it, but I don't know that I'll recap it unless I feel it's worthy of a recap. I also saw that Gretchen Rossi is going to be coming back to The Real Housewives of Orange County. I started out watching last season and I gave up. I don't know how many episodes in, but I was like, okay, this is just, Tamara was getting on my nerves. Alexis Bellino was getting on my nerves. Emily's totally changed since she became friends with Tamara. I used to really like Emily and now I feel like she's kind of turning into another Tamara. So yeah, I just quit watching it. But with Gretchen Rossi coming on, I don't know how I feel. I'm like, why do they keep bringing back all these housewives that used to be on the show that we didn't like at the time, so they weren't asked back, and now they're bringing them back again? But at the same time, it could be interesting because Gretchen and Tamara don't like each other. From what I remember, they really didn't like each other. So I'm kind of like, well, that would be kind of fun to watch somebody come in and kind of go up against Tamara. I don't know. I might go back and rewatch last season or the rest of last season, or maybe I should just watch the reunions just to get an idea of what happened. I have some time to figure it out considering they just started filming, I think, this week. We're also supposed to be getting season 2 of The Valley, which I loved the first season of The Valley. I thought it was so good. My only gripe about season 2 is they're supposedly Tom Schwartz, Sheena, and Lala all filmed for season 2 again. They had like little cameos sprinkled in season 1, but they really weren't a big part of it. But apparently they filmed in season 2 as well. The cast on season 1 was so good. I really don't feel like we need more Vanderpump people on it. So I'm hoping their roles are very minimal. But I am definitely looking forward to that one coming back again. I guess it's coming back in the spring. So I'll be recapping that one. I did recap it last season. I'll be doing that again. All right, let's go ahead and get into The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Mary was on Watch What Happens Live after the second part of this reunion. And I just have to play you this clip of them discussing Bronwyn's jewelry gate.
You make of Bronwyn's story about the necklace, because on the show she said she didn't buy the necklace, but she did buy some earrings, and then on Watch What Happens Live she said she didn't buy anything.
She didn't buy anything on what? That's
She
what
lied.
She said on Watch What Happens Live, oh no, I didn't buy anything.
She lied.
She lied.
She lied.
Fake.
Wow.
So Mary flat out calls Bronwyn a liar, which is so funny because on the reunion, Mary definitely seemed to take Bronwyn's side when the jeweler had reached out to Lisa and Bronwyn was questioning why the jeweler would do that. Mary was like, yeah, that's not professional, blah, 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 when they were trying to make it more about the jeweler than the fact that she had actually lied about the necklace. But yeah, so it's interesting that now she's calling her a liar, which I'm sure will roll over into the next season, which actually starts filming at the end of February. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. But yeah, I'm glad they're all coming back because this season was so good with the cast that we have. And I'm sure next season is going to be amazing as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into part 2 of this reunion. Again, I'm only going to touch on the aspects that I found interesting. Part 2 starts with Lisa explaining to Todd that when things are said on camera, and this is in reference to Bronwyn bringing up Gwen's father in the first place on camera, she says says that once it's set on camera, it kind of lives out there forever. Andy's very quick to move off of this topic and basically tells Todd that it was nice to see how protective Todd was of Gwen. Andy reads a question for Angie as to why she's mad at Meredith for saying Sean was gay when all she said was that there were rumors about Sean, when it was actually Monica who said that he was gay on camera, or implied that the rumors are that he's gay on camera. Angie tells him that there were definitely off-camera conversations about her and Sean, but she'll never be able to prove it, so all she can say is that Meredith played a role in it, which I agree. I do think there's more to Meredith's involvement as to what happened off camera, because Meredith was the one who initially implied that there was something going on with Sean when she was like, do you want to talk about the husbands? Let's talk about the husbands. Clearly, she was talking about what was said behind the scenes. Meredith tells Angie that Angie spent the last 2 years insisting that it was her that started these rumors when we all know it was Monica, and in retaliation for this, she's spoken badly about Meredith and her businesses and her family and her marriage, and how Meredith rents her house, which she's like, you made it sound like it was a derogatory thing, because she was like, well, you do rent your house, which we all know that Meredith rents her house. She's come out and explained why she rents her house. She only rents it for the winter months. Who rents a house in the winter in Utah when it's snowy and cold? I could see in the summertime. Obviously, she rents her house because of the show. I don't think it's really fair that she only has to be in Salt Lake City for the months that she's filming. Otherwise, she's out living wherever she's living, traveling around, which is great. Go travel. But at the same time, it makes it so the show really isn't that authentic, because in the off season, clearly she's not seeing any of these women. Not that I think these women hang out that much when they're not filming anyway, except for Angie and Mary, and maybe Whitney and Heather. I don't know. They seem to be together on Instagram a lot. I don't know how real that is or how that translates into real life. And at one point in time, Angie and Lisa hung out a lot before their big falling out, and they were on the phone all the time together. So they all kind of had curated real friendships, whereas Meredith only comes in when she's filming and then she leaves. So I don't know. That kind of bothers me. I don't know why they let her get away with it, but they do. We get another question for Meredith about using Brooks's sexuality as a way to get out of the scrutiny of implicating that Sean was gay. She, of course, is still denying that she didn't do that. And Angie brings up the Behind the Velvet Rope interview where David Yontif was clearly the one who brought up first that it appears that Meredith is using Brooks as a way to deflect. Meredith then pulls out her phone and she reads the little clip of what Sean had said in reply to David's comment. This time, though, they finally play the clip of David saying it initially, and that Sean was just responding to what he said. And Andy's like, is this really what you're mad about? She's like, yes. And Andy's like, this really seems like a waste of time to be mad about it, because David clearly led Sean in answering that. Meredith tries to twist it into this whole, yeah, but Sean denied saying it. He should have just said, I shouldn't have said that. Sean explains to her, no, I was saying that I never said anything about Brooks or about your son. It was taken out of context. And at the time, I believed that Meredith and Monica had something to do with these gay rumors. So yes, I was going to respond to him. They start arguing about how Monica was the one initially who told Angie that it was Meredith that she heard this rumor about Sean being gay. Then later on in the season, Monica walked that back and said that she didn't hear it from Meredith, that she heard it from the streets of Salt Lake City. So initially, that is why Angie thought Meredith was the one who started it, because Monica did say at one point that she heard it from Meredith. Even the control room tells Andy that they just watched it and they confirmed it back that that is exactly what happened. This pisses off Meredith and she starts getting crazy and she's like, I want that clip played. I want that clip played.
Control room is saying that Angie is correct. That's what was said.
So Monica told you that it came from Meredith.
Justice for Angie. Justice for Sean.
Okay, but then Monica also said that it didn't come from
She
Meredith.
changed the story. I looked at Monica and I said, Monica, why are you saying I said this? I didn't. And she goes, you did not. She didn't say it, Angie.
But she could have.
And we're going to play that.
It's hard to trust Angie.
I mean, this is never going to end until you actually play it. I'm getting angry.
Okay.
We let this go.
In fact, I think I'm finished.
Look at me. Don't go away. Oh, no.
The whole reason I came here was not for this.
We have established
This is
that
a
you didn't
load
start
of
this.
shit.
We have established.
Have we?
you didn't
Because they're still
start
saying
this.
I did.
Meredith, they just said the control room said she said it. How am I
No,
supposed
but
to feel
then
when I
she
hear that?
also
You don't
you're dealing
believe
with someone who's
Monica.
an
You don't fucking
unreliable
believe
person.
Monica. Yes, thank you.
She
And
said it
and
on
that's how I know
camera.
that you're going to play the audio at après ski when Monica very clearly says, Meredith didn't say it, I did. Unless I hear that and I'm being told it will play at the reunion, I am finished.
Good Lord. Meredith is so dramatic, threatening to walk off if they don't play this clip. This isn't why she came for this reunion. I'm like, good Lord, woman. Then why are you here? If you're not here to rehash things, then why are you here and why are you on this show? Monica did change her story, but again, Meredith did say on camera, do you want to talk about the husbands? Let's talk about the husbands. Pretty much implicating herself that she knew what the rumors were. Had she not said that, Whitney would have never gotten Monica to bring up what Meredith was talking about in the first place. To try and completely absolve herself is ridiculous. We're now on to Andy asking Todd what his reaction is to seeing Bronwyn tell the ladies about his emotional affair on the boat. And he's like, well, I didn't even watch it.
Todd, I've really been wanting to ask you your reaction to seeing Bronwyn share with the ladies in Mexico the story of your emotional affair.
Well, I have to apologize because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
We've
But
talked about it, and it's just
anything-
hard to watch. Yeah.
Anything that Bronwyn had shared would be more than I'd want her to share.
It was only emotional?
I wouldn't even say it's an emotional affair. There's a lot of people that Todd has different conversations with, and I felt like there was conversations that went further than I would have had with someone.
So once again, we have Bronwyn walking back something that she said. She walks back that it was an emotional affair. It was more about her feeling insecure with the women in the group, which reminded her of a time when she felt insecure in her marriage with Todd. She totally misrepresented that. She 100% implied that Todd had an affair and then was upset that Lisa did not have a reaction. In fact, we heard Lisa say when they got off the boat, oh wow, Todd's gonna be mad when he sees this. She clearly knew that Bronwyn was lying. And then Bronwyn went along with Whitney saying that Lisa's okay with it because she's been accused of cheating herself. This whole thing was based on a lie, or to give Bronwyn some leeway, an exaggeration of what really happened between her and Todd. She is so fake, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And now I feel stupid. Andy then brings up how Bronwyn said that Gwen was the one who caught Todd talking with the other woman and how that must have been embarrassing. What was interesting was how he turned and looked at her. And I couldn't tell if the look was for like, wow, you made that up, or wow, I can't believe you said that on camera. Either way, he just nods and tells him, yeah, that was difficult. But he looks emotional, and Bronwyn leans back and tells him it's okay. So there might have been some truth to it, but he just didn't know that she said it on camera. I don't know what he was thinking by not watching this show, or at least the parts where Bronwyn is talking about him before coming onto this reunion. Or really, why didn't she tell him that she said this on the show? Honestly, I don't think he had any idea of what the show entailed, clearly. But she really should have told him, listen, this is what I said on the show, so he was prepared coming on, because it definitely looked like it caught him off guard. We get another question for Meredith, asking what the status of her and Seth are. Are you living separate lives, or do you live together? Meredith tells him that contrary to what Angie and Whitney claim, they are monogamous and that they have a good marriage, but as everybody else does, they have bumps in the road. I do have to agree with Meredith when she said that anybody who denies that they have ever had issues in their marriage is lying. Seth chimes in that commuting for his job and only seeing each other on the weekends makes it better because it's like a first date whenever he comes home. I can't say I fully agree with that. While I do enjoy when Mr. Sean travels, if he were gone every week and we only saw each other on the weekends, I think it would be too much. Todd echoes Seth's sentiments about traveling, that he travels all the time and that they have multiple homes, so they're not always together all the time, which is probably okay with Bronwyn because she still has Todd's money. Yes, I did just say that. The husbands leave, and we're now on to Mary and Robert Jr.'s struggles with addiction. We see the flashback of her dealing with Robert Jr. all season. Andy tells her that they received so many tweets sending her love. She tells Andy that she feels like her mission was accomplished by sharing Robert's struggles. Her and Robert had discussed if that they could just help one person, then it was worth it. And I guess she and Robert had agreed to film the conversation, but she had no idea what he was about to tell her and how bad his addiction was and the view of himself. She tells Andy that he went to a 30-day rehab and that he's doing well. He has friends in his sobriety classes. I'm assuming he went to NA and not AA. She says AA, but I think he probably is in NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. Andy tells her that hearing Robert say that he feels like a stain was really difficult. And at this point, everybody was emotional, including me. She tells him that hearing that he feels like a stain when he's not made her do everything she could to convince him that that's not the case.
Like you were beating yourself up too a little bit. You felt like somehow you had failed or missed out on.
Of course you do as a mom, you know. When you have a relationship with your son and you want to give him the world, you want him to have a better life than you did, you know. I picked up and moved to New York for 8 years so that he can have the best education. He could be in a diverse atmosphere so he wouldn't be raised like I was raised. I was the only one in my class that was African American. They would play slave movies and the whole class would turn around and look at me. And I do blame myself. I feel like somewhere I missed the mark on catching it. But I feel like everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own testimony. Everybody has their own story. And I feel like that one is for him.
Mary explained that so eloquently, and it was interesting to find out more about her childhood, that she was the only African American in her school, so she took Robert to New York so he could be in school that had more diversity. It really does sound like she did everything she could to make sure he had a good childhood, but sometimes you can give your child the world and raise them right, but somehow they go off the path. And honestly, he's so lucky to have a mom who helped him get back on track, because there are so many people that don't have parents like that or don't have the resources to get back on track. And honestly, I don't know who said it. Was it Andy who said it? That if the person who's going into rehab doesn't want to do it for themselves, then it normally doesn't work. So it does sound like he at least wanted to go in and clean himself up. Andy asks her how Robert Sr. felt during all of this, and she tells him that he was broken and that he had told Mary that she was a beautiful mom and that he loved her. Andy tells her that it's a testament as to what kind of a mother she is that Robert Jr. even opened up to her. Everybody agrees with Andy, and they're all telling her what a great mother she is and that Robert Jr. is a great kid. And while she's receiving all these kudos from everybody, the camera pans in on Meredith, who has the weirdest look on her face. Like, she's so unemotional, which I understand that she and Mary aren't as close as they used to be, but to sit there and be so blank and unfazed was so weird to me. But maybe she was just taking it all in. I don't know. Heather tells Mary that she watched the scene with her children and it helped them have a conversation, or it opened up a dialogue between them. And then Whitney is like really crying at the end of the couch. And she tells Mary that watching it with her kids helped her kids understand more about what their grandfather, her father, who they haven't talked to in a couple of years, is kind of going through. Andy asks Mary why she was so different this season. She seemed more engaged. She was more open, like she was having a better time. She tells him that maybe it was because she found a friend who actually wanted to be her friend, meaning Angie. Andy's like, yeah, but didn't you and Meredith have a good friendship? Did you not feel that from her? And she's like, you know, Meredith is a beautiful person and she is a beautiful friend, but Meredith is a very busy woman and she's not around much. So we only cross paths periodically, which is kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this recap. It's not fair that they allow Meredith on the show because she doesn't live in Salt Lake City. She's only there to film the show. So she's not really creating real friendships with these women. And in the off season, she's completely disconnected from Salt Lake City. City. Mary does say that Meredith did reach out to her when she found out that she was going through addiction issues with Robert Jr. And we get to see the text from Meredith where she's talking about how her nephew went through the same issues and that she could rely on Meredith if she wanted to talk. So obviously they're friends in some sort of capacity. Andy reads a comment from someone about the bangs that Meredith had worn to Mary's brunch. Mary makes a joke like it was real suffering or something along those lines. And Meredith tells Andy, well, I don't care that she joked about my bangs, but it's the other women's comments that's a problem. And she pulls out her phone and she reads off this list.
Well, should we get out the list of all the lovely things that have been said?
Not the dossier.
Here we go.
Do you, like, after each episode, do you take notes of, like...
No, these are notes in preparation for today.
Okay.
Let me get my scroll on.
I've been called a drug addict, a bulimic, a cheater, homeless, mentally unstable, next level psychotic disassociation, multiple personality disorder, a snitch, a liar. My appearance has been made fun of. My hearing aids have been made fun of. I've been insulted as a mother. I'm a grudge holder, a whore, and I play the victim. And those are the ones I could remember.
I mean, some of those might have been kind of true, right? Angie makes a good point. She's like, well, you also go low, Meredith, which is true. We get to see a flashback clip of all the things that Meredith has said in the past, and that wasn't even all of them. Realistically, any of the women sitting on that couch could have made a list of all the things that they've been called or implied to be since they started filming on this show. I don't even know why Meredith is on this show. I don't know that she has the backbone to be on a show like this. It's like she's always on the brink of quitting, but for whatever reason, she keeps coming back. Andy reads another question about Meredith saying that Mary had used her in the past, and Meredith explains, that's how I felt at the time. Mary asks her why she felt like that, and Meredith's like, well, I was the only one who was talking to you at that time, and then you just disposed of me. And Mary's like, I don't use people. And Meredith's like, yeah, I know that, but that's how I felt at the time. But I don't think that's true. Andy asks where their friendship is today, and Meredith's like, well, I feel like we're moving forward. And then Mary asks her for a hug, and they get up and they hug. Mary tells Angie that she needs to work it out with Meredith. And Angie's actually seems kind of open to it. She's like, well, that's why we're here. Who knows? Maybe those three will become some sort of a little group. Probably not. I'm thinking it's just going to stick to Angie and Mary, but you never know. Anyways, that is all we have for part 2. Next week looks incredibly dramatic, and I cannot wait. So I will talk to you guys then. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.